Hello, friends, and welcome back to my channel. Today, we are going to discuss something really important. Okay, something which is a serious problem which 99% of the English speakers face. Okay, the problem is words just don't come to my mind when I want to talk in English. Okay, the right words do not hit my mind. Why so? Now, before you ask this question, okay, before we see this problem in English, now you have to ask yourself that this problem is happening only in English, or is this problem happening in your native language? And the answer to this question is that in your native language, I'm sure that you don't have this problem. Okay, why? Now ask yourself. When you're talking in your native language, you're pretty eloquent, you're pretty fluent with your sentences and with your words. You can actually convey what you intend to convey, right? In your native language. Then why is it that in English the right words don't hit you at the right time? What is the problem? What is the problem in English? Friends, the answer is that when it comes to English language, your subconscious mind has not been fed with that data which you actually need in order to carry on your fluent and flawless conversations. What is that data? Of course, I'm talking about the bandwidth of vocabulary. Okay, so your hold over your English language is not very strong. Your exposure to the standard language structure is not very strong. Okay, it's somewhere, it's not, you have not fed those things in your subconscious mind. Okay, and because your subconscious mind do not have that data, obviously, no matter how hard you try, words will not come to your mind at the right time, or for that matter, it will just not hit your mind. Okay, so now you have to ask yourself that in if you are very comfortable when it comes to your colloquials, when it comes to your spoken language, if you're very comfortable in your native language but not comfortable in English, okay, what is that gap and how will you bridge that gap? Well, that gap is only about the awareness of the standard language structure. Okay. In Hindi or in your Marathi or in Gujarati, whatever your native language is, whatever is the language that you have been speaking, you have been hearing right from your childhood, your subconscious mind is completely aware about the language structure of that particular language. Your subconscious mind has that bandwidth of vocabulary that is needed in order to carry out flawless and fluent conversations. But in English, but in English, you really do not have that data in your subconscious mind. You are really not exposed to the standard language structure of English. You do not have that wealth of vocabulary in English. And that's the reason, this problem occurs and it will continue to occur. So, how will you solve this problem? The best way to solve this problem is first get acquainted, get exposed to the standard language structure. Now, what is that standard language structure? Standard language structure is basically knowing the applied aspects of grammar, not just grammar. I repeat, not just grammar. So, just by knowing what is a noun, what is a type of noun, what is a pronoun, what are the types of pronouns, your English is never going to elevate. Your English quotient will never get uplifted. So, what is it that would impact your English quotient? Only when you are aware about the applied aspects of grammar as to how are you supposed to use all these 8 parts of speech. Okay, the 8 parts of speech which actually makes your English language. If you know how these 8 parts of speech can be infused in your language, only then only then you will start progressing in English. Okay, just by knowing the theory of grammar, your English will never be fluent. It will never get reflected in your spoken as well as in your written English. Okay, so make sure that you know what are these applied aspects of grammar first. Why? Now you must be thinking that I was talking about vocabulary and suddenly I'm talking about grammar. So let me tell you, my friends, that every word has a part of speech. So if I say a word like leverage, what is that? What is the part of speech of this word? Leverage is a verb. Now, if you do not know, how do you have to use the verb correctly in the sentence, no matter how hard you try to learn the meaning of this word leverage, no matter how hard you try to, remember this word, mug up this word, but when it comes to using it in your spoken English, you will not be able to use it flawlessly unless you know how are you supposed to use the verbs correctly in your sentences, because leverage is a verb. Leverage means to use something, to put something to use, right? If I talk about the word emancipate, okay, it's a pretty big word, emancipate. Emancipate again, what is it? Okay, now you can learn the meaning of this word. You can learn the meaning of this word. You can try to remember the meaning of this word for the days to come. But if you do not know the part of speech of this word, okay, again, you will never be able to use it. Okay, so even if you remember the word emancipate in your conversations, but you have no hang about the applied aspects of grammar, you have no idea how are you supposed to use it, there's no point knowing this word, right? So basically, what is important here is being aware about the standard language structure of English. So know the standard language structure of English. Okay, know the applied aspects of grammar. Only then you can start infusing the vocabulary. How will you infuse the vocabulary? Of course, you will look for the meaning of that word, that particular word in the dictionary. You will try to know the meaning of that word. Okay, you will try to retain the meaning of that word. Okay, and the next important thing before you start using it in your language is knowing the part of speech of that word. Unless you know the part of speech, usage is questionable. Okay, using that, when I say usage, I mean using that word in the sentence is questionable. You will never be comfortable using it unless you know the part of speech of that word. So when I say emancipate, I used this word emancipate. Emancipate is nothing but to free someone from bondages. In Hindi we say that किसी को बंधनों से मुक्त कर देना. So basically to give freedom to someone, to give liberty to someone. Okay, so now I know that emancipate is a verb. Now, because I know emancipate is a verb, I can very well have a subject before that word. Okay, then this verb emancipate, and easily, I can flawlessly make my sentence. So the mother-in-law is the subject, emancipated is the verb, her daughter-in-law, okay, from the daily chores of the house. Okay, see how simple it is. So knowing the standard language structure. Now on this note, I would also want to give you an example in Hindi. Most of my audiences are very familiar with Hindi language, and hence I would want to bring some example in Hindi today. Okay, now in Hindi, if I have to say this is a good book, how will I say it in Hindi? I will say that ये किताब बहुत अच्छी है. Right? ये अच्छी है, किताब अच्छी है. Okay, if I have to say it's a good car, how will I say it in Hindi? I will say that अरे ये गाड़ी बहुत अच्छी है या गाड़ी बढ़िया है, whatever it is. Okay, गाड़ी अच्छी है. So now, did you notice गाड़ी अच्छी? Okay, किताब अच्छी है. Okay, are you understanding what I'm trying to say? I'm trying to say, if you notice, in Hindi language, we have given gender, okay, to everything. So a kitab is considered as female, book is considered as female in Hindi, and that is the reason why I'm saying kitab achhi hai and I'm not saying kitab acha hai. Okay, in Hindi again, car, gadi is considered as female. Okay, and hence I'm saying that gadi achhi hai, it's a good car. Okay, I'm not saying gadi acha hai because gadi is a female in Hindi. So if you see if I know the language structure, I could flawlessly and fluently speak in Hindi because I was aware about the language structure. And what is that structure? That you have to give gender to everything and you have to know the gender of that thing so that you can communicate, in an unerring manner, which means without making any mistakes. Okay, so that's what it is, right? Now imagine if I do not know what is the language structure in Hindi. Okay, and if I do not know that, a kitab, which is a book, is considered as female, or gadi, which is a car, is considered as female, I will just say it in a manner which generally people who are not familiar with Hindi talk. How do they talk? ये गाड़ी बहुत अच्छा है. ये किताब बहुत अच्छा है. That's how they talk. Now imagine this person who is not aware about the standard language structure of Hindi. If he wants to become fluent in Hindi, if he really wants to progress in this language, how will he progress, my friends, without knowing the language structure? That is exactly the problem with you, friends. Words do not come to your mind. You cannot talk fluently. Why? Because you are not aware about the standard language structure. So please make sure that you're aware about the standard language structure. Then start infusing words in your language by knowing the part of speech. By knowing the part of speech of that word, by knowing the meaning of that word. Only when you know both these things, you will be able to use it flawlessly. Okay. And the most important tip of the video today, okay, is that learn the words with context. Okay, don't just try to mug up things. Learn it with context. Okay, so when I say mother-in-law emancipated the daughter-in-law from the household work, so just remember this context. Mukti dena, saas ne bahu ko ghar ke kaam se mukti de di. So remember that context. Only that context will help you to retain the meaning of that word. Yes, friends. So if words do not come to your mind in English, okay, make sure that you feed your subconscious mind with the standard language structure of English. The day you get familiar with the standard language structure is the day when you are going to progress phenomenally in your English. Is the day when you will actually be very confident in your spoken as well as in your written English. Okay, friends. So that's about it in today's video. I hope I have helped you to an extent. Okay, by knowing how are you actually supposed to infuse words in your language. Now, if you really want to level up your English quotient, if you want to infuse new words, if you really want to get aware about what is this standard language structure that I've been talking about, what are these applied aspects of grammar that I've been talking about, then you can definitely turn up for my free master classes, which happens every Saturday and Sunday at 11 a.m. Okay, so the link is given in the description. You can check that link. You can click on that link. I have written for free class. This is the link. Okay, you can check that in the description box. Hit that link, register yourself, and why don't you see me in the master class? Okay, and I shall certainly help you level up your English quotient and solve all your problems when it comes to English. Yeah, right now I am running a community of students who have been struggling with their English, but now with, with the power of community and with the power of mentor and with the power, with access to right language structure and applied aspects of grammar, they have improved phenomenally. Okay, some of them have got through very good business schools. Some of them have been able to crack their interviews and get good jobs, lucrative job opportunities. So if you are also one, who's getting troubled just because of the English language, who's not able to access the good opportunities because of your current English quotient, why don't you just come up? Okay, why don't you see me? And I would love to help you. Okay, friends. So that's all in this video today, and see you soon in the next video. Take care and bye.